You're listening to the Open Books Podcast.
Your next chapter starts now.
Is it love, 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 love that I'm feeling? Is it love, 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 love that I'm feeling? Is she the one?
Hello, and welcome back to the Open Books Podcast, where we discuss all things books and give you a chance to hang out with your best girls.
Hey,
I'm
y'all.
Amber.
I'm Colby, and thank y'all so much for being here. We're so happy to have you back for episode 4 now.
Four.
4, where we're going to talk
Crazy.
about Pretty Girls
Yes.
by Miss Karin Slaughter.
Oh, I cannot wait.
I can't wait. I've been dying for this episode
Me too.
because, and honestly, I was going to say I flew through the book, but I didn't.
Me
I kind of
either.
took it slow.
And it almost made the experience so much better.
It did. And we both kind of read on and off on vacation. Like, I
Yes.
really took my time with it.
Me too.
I literally finished it this morning.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. And
So-
I think it's going to make the discussion
Me too.
so much richer.
It's so fresh in our brains.
is.
I'm so excited to talk about this book.
I am too.
This was honestly up there on one of my top favorite books now.
Oh, top 5?
100%.
Absolutely.
It's up there. You too.
Yeah, like I'm going to recommend this book to people
Me
that
too.
want to read a thriller.
It's going to be one of those that like I think about sometimes.
Oh, it's going to stick and linger,
Yes.
and the characters are going to be...
Yeah. I really
In my
needed that.
mind.
I needed that book. I
Mhm.
needed it to bring me back.
Me too.
So,
Loved it.
before we get into the book, we're going
Yeah.
to have a real quick discussion. I know we have like so much to say about the book.
We do.
So, we'll keep this one a little short and sweet.
Yeah.
But how was your vacation?
Oh my gosh. So Universal was incredible. It was my birthday trip that Josh got me in January. So I've just been like
Waiting
patiently
for it.
counting down until I got to go on this trip. But we broke up the days. We did all the parks. We literally did every single attraction, ride that we wanted to do.
That is so cool
Did everything.
that y'all just went for it and did everything.
And it really is fun to go
Yeah,
as adults.
I know.
It really is.
You don't have like kids who cry the whole time and like you have to wait in line and
Right.
you can't handle it. When you're an adult, you can just like go with the flow.
just go.
Right.
Right. And I think both experiences, like going with your kids versus just going with your
Mhm.
husband or your friends,
Two
are
separate
so different,
experiences.
but both so great.
Yeah.
But this was equally relaxing as it was go, go, go.
So I have a question because
Mhm.
the picture that you have with the book behind you is like this crazy magical like mountain. Was that
Yeah.
at the resort that y'all were staying at?
So that's one of the 3 parks. So Universal has Universal Studios,
Okay.
Islands of Adventure, and then Volcano Bay. That was
Mhm.
the water park, Volcano Bay.
Okay.
Highly recommend to get tickets to Volcano Bay.
Love it. I love a
was-
good water park.
Oh my gosh. I will say though, I did experience a little moment of I was scared of heights.
Really? I am kind of scared of
Yeah.
heights.
It's weird. The only time I felt it before, like back in the day at Blue Bayou,
Mm-hmm.
but remember Blue
Yes.
Bayou, like the stairs when you'd wait would kind of sway a little bit. I'm like,
that
"Ooh,
that
this is janky."
water park is a little sketchy. It's in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Yes,
But we
sorry
used to go
for
all
yeah
the time.
all the time. I was like the thing to do, and I
It
was
really
like,
was.
maybe I'm not like scared of heights. Maybe I'm just scared of this particular water park. But no, we were going up the stairs to one of the slides, and you can see like the interstate from the
No.
stairs.
Yeah,
And
that's too much.
going up the steps, you could like see through the stairs. So they
Mhm.
were not cemented in the back. You could see straight through.
Mhm.
My palms started sweating. My heart was racing.
Were your intrusive thoughts running wild at this moment?
Honestly, I don't even remember having thoughts because
my
I was
God, you were that
so s-
nervous?
Yes, I was like, do I just go back downstairs or do I just
Yeah.
go to the top and ride the slide down?
So what'd you do?
Went to the top. Josh,
Yeah.
we just went really slow. Josh was like, come on, like
You
you
got
can do it. We
this."
got to go down. I'm like, I'm scared. But inside the volcano, they have slides too.
Yeah.
I couldn't see out, so I was fine. It was just
yeah, like the
exposed stairs that
how
freaked
high
me
you
out.
are.
Yeah.
Freaky.
But if anyone out there ever wants to talk about Universal, what to eat, what to drink, early park,
you up.
holla at your girl. And I also have to shout out Josh's cousin Jennifer with Beyond Imagination Vacations. Helped him plan and get tickets and all the
Oh.
things. So
It's like a travel.
yeah, she has her own little travel
Yeah.
planning
That's what we need to
business.
start doing when we want to start going places because we kind of
Yes.
just wing it. And
Right.
I always feel like, oh, I wish we would have like planned more, did more.
There's actually a lot of people that do that as their side hustle.
Yeah.
So
I know. I
if you're
haven't seen that.
interested, for sure.
I
How
love
was
that.
your vacation?
It was great. So we went to Destin, Florida, and we
Yeah.
stayed at like an Airbnb house. So
Cool.
it was really cool. It was fun. We mostly like went on the boat the whole time. So we stayed. The house was like at a bay where the boat picked us up from, and then we went through a little bay and looked at all like the ginormous houses
Yeah.
and just like dreamed that like one day.
One day
We'll
that'll
live
be
with-
us.
So we went through all like the bay and brought you to the beach and Crab Island, and the water was like literally clear. So it was so nice. And then the beach was so nice. I got a tan. I got that gorgeous
Oh,
chest tan.
Love that.
I love a chest tan. My
Yes.
forehead got tanned. So that's always like a mood booster when you get a little color.
100%. Life is
100%.
better with a tan,
Yeah.
fake
so,
or real.
Literally. So it was so good. I did have intrusive thoughts running wild though during that trip
Oh, I cannot wait
because
to hear that.
our Airbnb was like 2 stories and it was on water and there like wasn't a lot of like, I don't know, gating or like fence or
Mhm.
anything. So of course the whole time I'm like, the kids, they're gonna fall, they're gonna like run out the whole time. But I think that's like a universal
Right.
mother intrusive thought.
Mhm.
Anytime you're around water, it's just
Yep.
so scary. Even like bathtub time is like it's just water is scary with little kids.
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah.
You
But,
just made me think of one. I'll save it.
well, say it because that was mine.
Okay. Well, the single rider slides where you cross your arms over your chest, cross your ankles, and go down.
Yes.
As I was getting to go down that slide, I did have a thought. What if
hmm
you get stuck inside?
Is it enclosed?
Yes.
Oh.
So it's like a tube slide, right?
Yeah.
But at Universal, they have these. You step on a scale before you get on the slide.
hmm
So they weigh, like if it's a 2-person ride, like Josh and I would get on the scale together to see if our weights
Are
if we didn't-
compatible.
are we compatible? Was it too much? Where we didn't weigh enough? You need more people on the raft with you
Okay.
because I guess the current of the water in the slide, if you
Mhm.
don't weigh enough, it can't push you.
Right.
So
Oh my
I
god.
was fine. Okay, it's not what I'm getting at here, but I was like, what if people get stuck inside these slides?
Oh my god.
And then Josh showed me a video of a guy that really did.
Phobia
Yeah.
on a million bajillion.
He was stuck inside the slide, but they have these little like doors that they can come like let
Oh.
you out.
Okay,
But
yeah, they have answers for
I
these
would-
problems.
I would, I wouldn't make
Quite
it.
literally die.
I wouldn't. Mm-mm. So that was one that I had. Like, what if I'm stuck inside this
Yeah.
slide? I can't get
I
out.
can't get out. Terrifying.
Oof,
Well, that
makes
was
my chest hurt
my
just think about it.
beach trip. It was really good.
Yeah, I'm so glad we both had these lovely vacations.
Yeah, me too. It was needed.
So I mean, I know we were kind of recapping.
Yeah.
And it all sounded like good news. But
It
do you
was.
have any good news?
My other good news was my second son's first birthday was his first birthday party was yesterday and it went really
Yes.
well.
It was
So that was my
great.
good news. It was so cute. Birthday parties are always just like a little stressful to plan.
Yeah.
But honestly, with Leo, my second baby, I've just been so much more I don't know, maybe carefree is the
Yeah.
word, just with everything. And it feels so much better. She's like, I'm just not that stressed.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be a great party. Like I didn't like go all out with the decorations this
It
time.
was so cute.
All
it
you,
really was.
I just did all that you needed, the little cake
Yep.
table, and it was great. So it was really cute.
It was a
and he-
good time too.
Yeah, and he was just like showing off for everybody, showing him that he knows how to stand. He was
He's-
like, the attention is on me. I'll take it.
Right.
So that was mine.
So sweet.
What is your good news? Do you have anything
Um,
else?
Honestly, I think I'm just on this high from vacation.
Yeah,
Like it just feels good. I feel like now I feel motivated. Like I came back
me
and
too.
I feel like usually people don't come back from a theme park and they feel
yeah,
motivated.
I'm ready to
Um,
go.
But I am. I'm like wanting to do things and
I feel the same way.
rebrand myself.
It's the tan. It's the tan.
Oh yeah. But I'm like, let's do things.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Oh my god, I
So,
love that. I really feel the same way.
Are we
Lit-
the
We're in
same
tune.
person right now?
Always.
Oh no, really, always.
Okay, so much good news.
Yes.
Let's get into before we get into the book.
Yes.
What are we currently watching?
Oh, I love this.
Me too.
I love this part of the show.
Me too, because like I said in the last episode, I like to know what people are currently watching because I need things to watch.
Absolutely.
I
Me
have
too.
been like struggling a little bit, not struggling, but like trying to decide if I'm going to read or if I'm going to watch something because there's so much to watch
It's-
right now.
I know.
There's so much on my plate, but also there's so much to read. So
the content
the content plate
is
is
building up.
it's full. And I prioritized this past week the new season of Black Mirror. So motherfucking good.
It is so good.
I love Black Mirror.
Even though I do too. But this specific season, there was one episode that I was like, eh.
Was it the last one? The
What was
demon
last
one?
No, I surprisingly enjoyed that one.
Really? I didn't not enjoy that one. It
wasn't my
I just didn't know
favorite.
what to expect. I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
So
That was definitely like a moral.
it
like-
100% was. Posed the question.
Yeah.
And I know we can't really spoil the Black Mirror season because it's really new. So
It's
a bunch
so
of people
fresh.
probably want to watch it.
Yeah.
But I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. Did you?
Oh, I binged it after Leo's party yesterday.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I binged
binged
it.
the
I
whole
binged it in
thing.
a day too.
Binged the entire thing.
So Black Mirror is one of those shows I think that Netflix really puts all of their production quality into.
Yes.
It's so well done always. And especially this season, they had so many cameos from really famous actors and actresses, which I really appreciated.
Yeah, they had famous people in it for sure.
Yeah.
More than ever, because I know they had Miley Cyrus before too.
Yeah, I liked her episode.
I did too.
This one had a lot though, and it was just all the Black Mirror episodes are scary because they're so in the realm of possibility for the distant or near future in the
I
world of
know.
technology that we live in today.
I know. I don't want to spoil anything. I literally have spoiler alert, so
I
I'm not
know.
going to say anything.
But
But the first episode of this is 6, right?
I think so.
Season 6.
Joan is awful.
Joan is awful. I was like,
She wasn't even that awful.
no, she wasn't. I'm like, she's literally
Relax.
this average, ordinary woman.
Right.
What?
I know.
Putting her on blast like this, she's not even doing anything.
She was fine.
right? I mean,
She
give or
was-
take some things.
Exactly, but she was fine.
But the I don't want to say the twist, but the big
Yeah.
aha moment for her where she was like, holy shit, I did what?
Mm-hmm.
Freaks me out because
Yeah.
it
I
makes
think we could say it. Signing the fine print.
yeah,
Signing off on it.
signing the terms and agreement.
Yeah.
We know no one reads it.
Nobody
no
reads
one's
it.
scrolling through. We check the yes box and we keep life moving.
100%.
So that freaks me out.
Yeah.
So now everything I'm like, terms and agreement.
Terms and
Let me
agreement.
read it.
Oh, you know what else it made me think about, which this shouldn't give too much spoilers away, but
Mhm.
how scary AI can be, because I feel like AI is this new thing coming out,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence,
Yes.
where have you been seeing people putting famous people's faces on other bodies and making them do all these crazy things, and it's you think it's actually that person, but it's
It's all
literally
just computer generated.
yeah, that's pretty scary that can happen to
Yeah,
anybody.
it just I know. And then Snapchat's
Yeah.
AI.
Mm-hmm. Something is weird going on with AI.
Oh, there's definitely I don't know, maybe I'm getting a little too conspiracy
I know.
theorist here.
Because we could go deep.
We
But
could go deep.
it's-
I'll save that for another
another
mini episode.
literally. But it's the Black Mirror gives you something to think about, and I love that.
I do too. So definitely watch that if you
Yeah.
haven't. Oh, side note,
Mm-hmm.
it's a part of Black Mirror, but it was that interactive episode. Do you remember that?
No, but I do, but I didn't do it.
I did it.
Oh, what was it like?
It was
Very
was
Black Mirror like.
Yeah, it was very Black Mirror, but you got to choose the outcome of the show. Like the main character's choices you got to select. It was very cool.
That is really cool.
So
Honorable mention to the one Black Mirror episode, San Junipero, I think it was, where the elderly people or the people, I don't know if they were dying or dead already.
Yes.
And they get to go and live in this little chip machine and any throughout the decades and their younger
Yes.
selves and younger bodies, and the two girls fall in love.
yep.
And she has that
That
moral
was-
question, am I going to go back to my husband? I think because the daughter didn't go into this world, so she wouldn't
Yep.
be with her daughter in the world, and it's is she going to stay with the person that she met?
That
It
was
crazy.
such a good episode.
So good. Love Black. Now I want to go rewatch
I
all of the Black
know.
Mirror seasons. They're so good.
Also, the one with the astronauts this season was good.
Oh, I really like that
That was
one.
such a good one.
That was a good one. And that's the guy who plays in Breaking Bad. Jesse
Oh,
Pinkman
yeah,
in
yeah,
Breaking Bad.
I never finished Breaking Bad, but
I
I know
did.
enough of the show.
Yeah. So good. Okay, were you watching anything else before we get started?
No, that's really all I've been binging.
Same.
Yeah.
Oh, Natalia Grace real quick.
Oh my gosh, we couldn't have a whole nother episode for that.
Seriously, so this is what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna
Fucking
say
sick.
I'm gonna say what the fuck to the case of Natalia Grace.
This disgusting.
Little nasties, all of them. Everybody involved in that series, disgusting, unwell, and disturbed.
Disturbed. Disturbed.
They were not
Do you
okay.
realize- Okay, so it did get me because I was like, she's an adult. This is weird.
Yeah.
But she was a child.
I know.
She was a kid. And when they put her in that apartment,
Yeah.
she was damn near 9 years old.
Yeah.
Jail.
Jail
Your
time.
boy should be in jail.
And Christine and Michael, literally sick and twisted individuals. But wait, I have a question for the producers of that show. How
Spit
did
it.
they handle Michael? He was
Wait,
nuts.
He was loving every
Oh,
second
he
of
wa-
having a show. But the
100%.
moment he was like,
Let me show
let
y'all.
me show
I knew you
y'all
were
how
gonna say
she
that.
beat her. And he like unmics himself.
Yeah, he gets on all fours and starts punching the ground.
Wait, and then he says, ow.
No.
It was
No.
sick. Comical. Not, the story was not comical.
Yeah.
Michael was
He
a
was.
mess.
I was watching him like, this guy is not real. He can't be real.
No, and
Something was seriously wrong with him.
he was soaking up every second of
loved
being
it.
on TV.
He loved it. And I have one theory too. I think that Christine like adopted Natalia with the intent to harm her. I think
Oh, you
it's
think
the
so?
opposite. Like I think because I remember when we first introduced it, it was like they were saying that Natalia had intent to harm the family. I
Right.
think they had intent to harm her. Because Christine was nuts. I think she was like obsessed with like little people. That's what they call them.
Yeah.
She was like she had something
Yeah, because
seriously wrong
she
with
like
her.
reached out to that other man.
Yes,
And I think was like trying to hook him up with Natalia.
her supposedly kid.
Which is weird in
Yeah.
itself.
Yeah. Now there was, I have to say, my mom thought this too. There was still something off with Natalia. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what
Well-
it was. I guess just the lack of direction and like love maybe her whole life. But
Oh.
like what was that about when they said like if she was still a kid but she was in the mental institution when she was being like sexually promiscuous with the men and all? Like what was that
That's
about?
true.
Some
and,
shit
and
just
that's
threw
like
me off.
something that never was ever really answered.
Exactly.
That part when she was in that mental institution
That was a
just
plot hole for me.
happened, and then they never went back to it.
And then yes, and then some of the neighbors who claimed that they were like, she's crazy, like she's evil, she's demented. I'm like, I know we can't believe everything they all say. Everyone seems
Right.
crazy to me. All the neighbors, they're all
Right.
just nuts.
But like when she
was
came
that
over to
about?
play with that little boy when he was like,
Yeah.
I mean, if she was a little kid, she wouldn't have known.
I
And the
know.
reason why she didn't have good hygiene is because
She was literally a
she's
child.
9 years old. Like,
Right.
who's gonna make her change her clothes and take a bath? if-
Exactly. So true.
I don't know, but then it's like she was dragging in the trash can. Like,
I guess she just didn't have a choice. Like, I don't know. I don't know where the justice belongs in this case, but I don't think we'll ever know.
we won't.
No.
And the fact that at the end Michael was like, I'm so glad everyone knew I was innocent. And then they had the lead juror come on.
Yes.
She's like, we had no other choice because we weren't allowed to use her age, which
Mhm.
is beyond
Crazy.
me. Are you kidding me? This whole thing is about
Her age.
her age.
Literally.
And you can't use
that,
her
that
age.
is nuts.
Oof.
Oh my
I
God.
could go on and on.
I know. Overall thoughts is I don't think we'll ever get like the full answers. So I just had to let this one go because I was
Me
starting to
too.
spiral and I was like, you know what, I have to step away from this case because I don't know what the fuck is
I
going
know
on.
clearly I was just heated about that.
Literally.
I'm like, y'all are disgusting people.
The only thing I do know is that Michael and Christine are sick.
And I feel bad for their children that they had
Me
together
too.
because
The poor
I-
kid who's the mom forced to pee on her sheets and stuff.
Yep.
Like,
and he
that's-
was like genius level.
yeah, and he's ruined now. I mean, well,
I
he
know.
come back from that.
That's so sad.
Mhm.
Like-
Justice for question mark because I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
That case is nuts. Okay, so I think that was it. Currently watch and recap all that
Yeah.
drama.
Yep.
Okay, so shall we get into the novel?
Shall we?
We shall.
We shall.
We shall.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so first let's show some love to the author, Miss Karin Slaughter.
Shout out to our girl,
She's awesome. Her writing to me was so good.
It was beautiful.
It was beautiful. It was dense, and I did see some like critiques that it was a little too detailed, like it was just like a lot, and it was detailed.
compared to some of the other novels we've read.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But the way she wrote, you get lost in the writing.
100%.
And I think
I
that
was
is one of the
completely
most-
invested.
100% invested, and I think that's one of the most beautiful things about reading is it does take you
Yeah.
into another world, another time.
Yeah.
And that did happen
That
with this
is
novel.
perfectly said. That is the beautiful thing about reading. That's
Yeah.
why we do it. Like
Yeah.
it takes you somewhere else, and this one did. I was like living in it.
100%.
So, Karin. This was just her info that I took
Yeah.
from Amazon after I looked at the book, just to
Yeah.
give her the credit that she deserves.
100.
So she's the author of more than 20 instant New York Times bestselling novels, including Edgar-nominated Coptown and standalone novels such as Pretty Girls, The Good Daughter, and Pieces of Her. She is published in 120 countries. There's more than 40 million copies sold across the globe, and she's even had some books turned into series, which is
Oh,
really cool.
which books do we know?
Pieces of Her. I have seen that on Netflix. I've never watched it though. We should
Put it on the plate.
put it on the plate. Put it on the content plate. So she's a native of Georgia and she lives in Atlanta,
Love that.
which I think is where she set up Pretty Girls. I think it was
Yeah,
Atlanta. I
It
saw
was
that
in
online.
Athens. Yeah.
Athens. Yes. Okay. Of course, we have to give a disclaimer for this book.
Oh,
Huge disclaimer. Huge
Huge.
trigger warning. The book is very graphic.
It
It
is.
discusses heavy topics
Mhm.
such as rape, sexual assault, sexual violence, and necrophilia. So it is dark. It's going to get dark in the discussion, but that's the purpose of the book. I think it's
Right.
it presents these things. It was a story. It was entertaining. So trigger warning if you can't handle that. Well, if you read the book, you already know
You know.
this. But if you're listening to chill with us,
Right.
Just
If you're
know.
hanging out, just know that Colby's summary is going to touch on all of that. But I do want to go back to how we were saying that her writing is so beautiful and it does take you to another world, even though those heavy topics are
dug into.
webbed
Yeah.
in it. It's just
Mhm.
she has such a way with her
She did.
words. She really does. So
I couldn't agree more. Like I was,
Yeah.
I could stomach it. Like I could.
same.
So if you are listening, just hang out with us. The summary is gonna
Yeah.
talk about it. Also, disclaimer about the summaries. I just want to mention that details from the novel, big and small, are going to be left out. Of
Mhm.
course, I can't like read the whole book. Here we'd be here for
yeah,
hours.
we would be here for a while for
I
this
actually
one.
heard that the audiobook of this book was 19 hours long.
Wow.
That's crazy long.
19
But it makes sense.
hours. It does,
So it took me
though.
like 2 weeks to read.
Yeah.
So anyway, the book summaries are just meant to be a summary. I realize that they can get like kind of long,
Mhm.
but from feedback that we've gotten, I think people enjoy the summaries because if you didn't read the book, it feels like you did. Like you can
Yeah.
find out what went on, in a larger way.
Right.
And if you did read the book, it's kind of like a refresher.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
here
Definitely a refresher.
here it goes.
Let's go.
Now this might take me a little bit. I tried to shorten it as much as I could, but let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Okay. So this book is told from 3 different perspectives with timelines that interweave between past and present. Past being 1991 and present is about 18 to 20 years later. In 1991, there was a happy and loving family consisting of Helen and Sam, who are mom and dad. And then we have 3 daughters, Julia, the oldest, who's college age, Lydia is the middle child,
Mhm.
and Claire is the youngest, who was 13 years old in this past timeline. So Sam, their father, his point of view recounts the events surrounding when their oldest daughter, Julia, who's described as a vivacious, kind, and fun-loving 19-year-old,
Mhm.
went missing from her college town. She was last seen at a local bar with her friends, and her case went cold. The sheriff at the time, who the family called Huckleberry, deemed her a runaway. He tried to slander her image by recalling Julia as just a girl who cared about boys and parties, chalking her disappearance up to a teenage runaway. But their father, Sam, never gave up on looking for her. Her disappearance clearly tore the once loving and bonded family completely apart. The father's point of view is absolutely heartbreaking and like gut-wrenching.
Mhm.
He recounts and obsesses over every little detail of Julia's case. He kind of writes in the style of like a journal to
Mhm.
Julia.
Oh my
So he's
gosh,
like he's
love.
talking to his missing daughter through
Yep.
his journal entries. His point of view is actually the only one that's first person.
Yes.
So he conducts his own investigation for years, following up on leads that the police really never followed up on. They end up being dead ends. His heart was broken. He would scream and cry in pain and agony at night, while Helen, their mother, she just lost sight of her purpose, and she kind
Yeah.
of just went cold and distant. So Sam goes crazy looking for answers, and Helen checks out. This makes Lydia, the middle child, who's now the oldest, take care of Claire, and she kind of took over parenting responsibilities.
Mhm.
Lydia and Claire were best friends and sisters until Paul, Claire's boyfriend at the time, drove them apart, which we'll get into how he drove them apart.
Oh, Paul.
Sam, their father, like I said, his point of view is journal entries. He tells about his never-ending search for her, but the real essence of his journal entries, to me, captured the love of a parent.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
and we'll get into his journal entries.
Yes.
Like, we'll dive deep into it, but it really just his pain was felt. Like, could cry.
Yes,
about
I was
it.
about to say I could cry reading
Yeah, how
his
he
parts.
Yeah,
of the
he
book.
described like the agony of having this happen to one of your children. So, we do get in the book that Sam killed himself about 6 years after Julia's disappearance, leaving in a note saying, "To all my beautiful girls, I love you with every piece of my heart, Daddy." So now we're going to learn more about Claire and Lydia's lives as they are adults, decades past Julia's disappearance. So Claire marries a rich businessman named Paul. Lydia goes on a drug-induced binge after the loss of Julia, and she never really got out of it until she became pregnant with her teenage daughter, named Dee. So she has a boyfriend named Rick who supports her and her daughter. They seem to be decently happy.
Yeah.
Lydia just kind of goes through the motions of life.
Mm-hmm.
Claire and her husband Paul seem really happy. They met just 6 years after Julia goes missing. Paul clung on to Claire right away. He's described as kind of geeky, very arrogant by Lydia and Sam's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And then Claire's point of view, she was completely enthralled by him. It was really easy for him to get her. She kind of just went with it right away, and that was it. They
Yeah.
were intertwined ever since. So, in the present timeline, Claire and Paul meet one evening for drinks. When they're going to leave, Paul shows a very much different side to himself when he pulls Claire into an open alley, to initiate sex with her. During this interaction, a man pops up behind them to rob them, stabs and kills Paul. Paul dies in Claire's arms. She gets away from the man, but she's haunted by this event. She calls this man the Snake Man.
Snake Man, yeah.
So her life after this is completely 100% turned upside down. She lost her husband of 18 years. She's estranged from her sister. She really just has her mom. She genuinely can't fathom what it feels like to be without him.
Mhm.
Her point of view made me very sad too when she lost her
Yes.
husband. That was very detailed.
Yes.
You really felt how she felt. She was just like, nothing matters. Like, how do I move on from this?
You could really feel,
Yeah.
for all the traumatic events, you could
Mhm.
feel
Yeah.
how it really must have felt
Yeah.
through the characters.
Yes, exactly. So, Paul did everything for Claire. He was very tech savvy. He was obviously
Mhm.
loaded like a millionaire. They had a huge mansion. Paul worked for a multi-million-dollar company with his good friend named Adam Quinn. And Claire really didn't need or want for anything in her life with him. She had it very easy.
Yeah.
He did everything.
He really did do everything.
Yeah. So, after Paul's funeral, Claire's house gets robbed by three men, and an investigation starts in her house. So, an officer named Jacob Mayhew is head of the investigation. He comes across really rude while he's at her house. Claire also has an FBI agent come named Agent Fred Nolan, also comes across a little rude to her. So she wonders why the FBI is there and not just the local police, but it's kind of brushed over.
Mhm.
All the authorities on the scene are acting super weird. And during this, where they're digging in her house to see
Yeah.
what happened during this break-in, Claire comes across some really disturbing things on Paul's computer. So what she finds, and the reason she looked at his computer is because Adam Quinn, his best friend and business partner, told her, "Hey, I need you to give me some files."
Yeah.
And it should be titled "Work in Progress."
Work in progress.
Yeah, and he was like, "I need them ASAP." So she's like, "Okay, whatever." So she
Mhm.
goes into Paul's computer, and this is where she finds some really disturbing things. So, also have to mention real quick about Adam that Adam and Claire have a quick affair.
Yeah.
They slept together 3 times.
Like 3 different times. Yep.
Yeah, it comes into play later, but for now,
Yeah.
not that important. So, what Claire finds on his computer are some really disturbing films. She
Mhm.
finds a film of a masked man wearing a creepy black outfit approaching a woman who's completely tied up, slashes her throat with a machete, her body convulses, blood
Oh,
sprays
my God.
everywhere, and the man then begins to have sex with her dead body. So, this right away, you're like, okay, this is happening.
So awful.
So awful. So, this is the necrophilia full on.
Yeah.
What's going on in all of these films in Paul's computer is necrophilia, women being murdered, tied up, tortured, cut apart, mutilated.
Electrocuted. I think there was they
Yeah,
were.
a branding thing.
Branding.
Yes, and then the masked man has sex with them after. So she sees this and she's like, "Is this real? It can't be real."
Right.
He must just be into this weird porn. Still, what the fuck? But
Yep.
can't be real.
Right.
So now we're going to go to Lydia's perspective a little bit. She finds out that Paul is dead, and this news is a delight to her. We find out
Mhm.
she absolutely fucking hated Paul. We learned that when Lydia was a drug addict all those years ago, Paul was her right-hand man. Lydia claims that he was nothing but a true asshole. She saw through him the
Mhm.
whole time. When he got together with her little sister, Claire, Lydia tried to keep them apart because she saw a dark side of Paul that Claire couldn't see, or rather that Paul really never showed her.
Yep.
So to Claire, Paul was charming and safe, but he was obsessed with her in a way that Lydia found creepy and dangerous. One night, Paul tried to rape Lydia. After he punched her in the face and forced her to say she wanted it, she ended up getting away because some people walked up and helped her, and Paul ran away. This is what made the family finally split apart after Julia's disappearance. They were already kind of struggling to keep the family together.
Right.
And when Lydia told her mom, Helen, and her sister Claire what Paul did, they did not believe her. They took Paul's side, and that was it. They never
Yep.
talked for 18 years. And that
Yeah.
was it. So that Claire and Lydia reunite at Paul's gravesite. Lydia shows up there to literally pee on it, take a big piss on it, and
The irony.
beyond. Oh my God, we have to get into that.
We do.
We remember this. We'll come back to the pissing on the grave. So Claire walks up when
She's like,
she's like, okay.
yep.
She like,
Pull your pants up.
she's like, ma'am, this is my husband's grave. And Lydia's like, I literally don't care. He was a piece of shit and you know
Yeah.
it. And they kind of get into like a little argument and Claire walks off. But Lydia is like, something's going on with Claire. They hadn't seen
Mhm.
each other in 18 years, but she's like, I think Claire knows something about Paul. Like
Yep.
something is weird here.
Yep.
So Claire finds that Paul, she goes back to her house and everything. She finds that Paul has gone to great lengths to cover up his secret videos. He has the house all wired up, crazy to keep his videos and even paper files hidden. He has hundreds of files of women that he stalked through private investigators and all the violent porn films coded with like strange and crazy numbers. So, yes, he was a smart and techie person. He handled everything as far as finances and logistics. So Claire never really had a reason to like dig into his computers and
Right.
stuff, I guess. I think that posed a lot of questions like how could she have not had seen? But she didn't. She really literally had no
Right.
idea what he was doing. So next she finds films that are all of the same man torturing, murdering young women, from slicing their throats to raping them with chainsaws.
My God.
One of the girls I know in the video looks very similar to a present day missing girl named Anna Kilpatrick. So she's like, I have to bring these to the police station. So she brings the films to Officer Mayhew. He's the officer that was at her house investigating the break-in. Mayhew completely shrugs her off.
Yep.
And he's like, these are snuff films. This is like a thing.
Enough. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, sadly, this is a thing. People do watch this.
Yep. People
It's-
pay for this.
Yep. He's like, it's not illegal. It's fake. And I'm sorry to find out that your husband watched this, but it's not real. And he's like, I know you think it looks like Anna Kilpatrick, but it's not. And
It's
she's like,
not.
I didn't even think it looked like her, but now it's weird that you're saying that. So she just takes them and she goes home. She's like, hey, he's clearly no help, and what the
Yep.
fuck? So she goes home, and here's where she reaches out to her estranged sister, Lydia. Lydia was really quick to drop everything and show up for Claire. She knows that something's got to be really wrong for Claire to reach out to her after 18 years of them not talking, now that Paul's dead. So she leaves Dee, her daughter, with Rick. She heads to Claire's home, and after spending time together, of course, Claire apologizes to Lydia for not believing her, letting Paul split up the family. She's learning that he's not the person she thought he was, and she seriously needs help from her sister. It doesn't take long for their like natural flow to kind of come back.
Yeah.
It's definitely like awkward and weird because they have all that animosity and history, but they work together. At this point.
Absolutely.
So at this point in the book, the foundation has really been laid out. Once Claire and Lydia reunite, the action starts to really pick up. So the details ahead, again, trigger warning, get like gory and disturbing. So I'll spare all the like super intense details, but still got to summarize what happens because here's the answer to the mysteries. So the book's action spans out in only a matter of 3 days. I didn't even realize that till after that it was just a 3-day
Same.
series.
Yep.
It was crazy.
It seemed like it was
a really
a
long
long
time.
span of time.
And I think that was because of all of her details.
Yep.
So during these 3 days, Claire and Lydia find out that Paul has been going to his childhood home that they call the Fuller House. They travel to the Fuller House and uncover the room of terror that they saw in the videotape. So they see the room at his childhood home.
Yep.
This room was in the house's garage, and it was clearly still in use. Also, the inside of the Fuller House looks like it's very much lived in, even though Paul's parents were killed in a fire a couple years ago, maybe it was. Claire thought the house was gone. She didn't know anything about it. So as they look around, they find hundreds of physical tapes. They quickly learn that they're the same tapes on Paul's computer. They find a tape with the disappearance of Julia's, the day of her disappearance in 1991. So they play the video. They know what they're about to see. They actually see Paul's dad, Gerald Scott, murder and rape Julia in the video.
Yes.
In the video, you can see a chain that Julia has on that belonged to Lydia. Julia had taken it from Lydia. It was like a cute little chain with with a little heart locket on it.
Yep.
She's screaming and begging for help before she's killed. So Lydia and Claire are like freaking out at this point, of course. Lydia runs out of the house And this is where Claire suddenly hears a familiar voice. It's Paul's voice. He says, "I'm sorry," right before he punches her in the face and knocks her out. So Paul is alive.
He is alive.
Claire wakes up in the Fuller house and Lydia's gone. So at this point, Paul uses Lydia as collateral and bait for a huge next portion of the book. We don't get much from Lydia besides like her torture
Right.
from Paul. So he uses Lydia as bait to get Claire to do something for him. He needs Claire to get back that USB that Adam asked her for that she gave him. This USB obviously has important information on it. He promises he won't hurt Lydia as long as Claire does what he says. So I guess this is why Claire doesn't like immediately go to the FBI. She's worried that Lydia's going to die and she has to handle this first. So
Right.
obviously Paul lied. He tortures Lydia the entire time he has her captured. He brings her back to the Fuller house. He ties her up in the same garage where her sister was killed 18 years ago. He does terrible things to her, such as he pees in a bottle and waterboards her with his own urine.
God,
So
it's so horrible.
so horrible. And there's that weird like foreshadowing of her peeing on his
Yes.
grave. Like, wow.
that I really didn't pick up on until
just now.
Just now.
But wow. So he tells Lydia also that their dad Sam never actually killed himself. Paul was the one who killed him. Sam was on to Paul because Ben, this is a convict in jail that Sam was hanging out with, really, because he got a tip that this convict in jail might know something about Julia.
Yeah, because
So-
he was also a serial killer.
Yes. So
Yeah.
he goes and visits Ben to try to like make friends with him and get some information out of him, and he does end up getting a little lead from Ben about Gerald Scott, which is Paul's father. So Sam starts to look into Gerald and figures out that Gerald was most likely the man who took Julia. Paul figures out that Sam is onto him though, and Paul forces Sam, Julia's dad, to watch a tape of her being killed and murdered, and then he kills Sam and makes it look like a suicide. So their dad never actually killed himself.
sad.
I know. So while Paul is with Lydia, Claire's running like wild around town trying to come up with a plan to keep Lydia safe from Paul, get Lydia back, and get the USB to Paul.
Yes.
So she's afraid to call the cops or the FBI because she's not sure if they're in on everything, because obviously like Paul had to have help from some authorities to fake his own death. She just doesn't know what happened. So this is what she finds out. Adam Quinn, Paul's best friend and business partner, and he's the one who called the FBI on Paul because he caught Paul stealing money from their business. $3 million, in fact. $1 million for each time that Paul and Claire slept together.
Yes.
So
Oof.
I know. So Adam actually ends up dropping the charges against Paul, but at this point it was too late. The FBI had
Yep.
already found all of this about Paul during their investigation of his
Yes.
fraudulence. So the FBI does help Paul fake his death. So Agent Fred Nolan knew that Paul was dead all along because he literally helped him fake his death
Yep.
in return for information about these films.
Yep.
Paul claimed that he would only distribute the films. He never participated in them.
Right.
And that if this gets out, like his life is in danger. So he needed to fake his death. So on the night of the fake death, Paul got away from Agent Fred Nolan. He like punched him in the face and ran off. So Paul got away. That's why Fred was like hostile and weird towards Claire the whole time. He needs to know where Paul was so he can do his job and take down this porn ring. So Paul gets away. He goes to live at the Fuller house and he sees Claire there 2 days later when her and Lydia show up and find the tapes. Back to the present action, Claire ends up going through all these crazy obstacles, running around the area. She gets a gun from Lydia's house. She's questioned by the agent Fred Nolan. Her mom, Helen, comes on her side. She distracts the FBI for her. And
Which-
then that was so
Just like
random. Random. We got to
Was
talk about
random.
Helen later on.
Yeah.
So she ends up at the offices of Paul and Adam Quinn, where she gets the USB back from Adam. She plugs it into Paul's computer, and she finds like the real truth about everything. So there was obviously a secret murder porn ring going on for decades that was all started by Paul's father, Gerald. There are hundreds of videos and images on the USB of brutal murders, necrophilia. She finds an image of her sister, Julia, hanging upside down, totally naked and gutted, while the sheriff that was on her case, Huckleberry, poses next to her with a heart on. Sick. So the image also of 15-year-old Paul is next to Julia. So not only did Paul know what happened to Julia, he participated in what happened to Julia. There's a list of all the clients in this USB who pays for these films all over the world. This list includes public figures, popular politicians, and Officer Mayhew. So the truth just kept getting worse. The truth was that Paul had known what happened all along. He specifically targeted Claire 6 years after his dad captured her and killed her sister Julia. He manipulated Claire for 18 years into thinking he was a completely different person. The question of did Paul actually love Claire, we could get into. A
Yeah.
lot of people were curious about that.
Mhm.
Claire noticed on the USB that there were also unedited versions of these videos, and that the masked man in the tapes was Paul himself. So most of the book, you don't really know who the masked man is.
Mhm.
It seems like Paul just was a distributor of these
Right.
because he edited the videos to look and sound like someone else. There was
Mhm.
even like a fake tattoo on some of
Yep.
them, so it looks like a different man.
Different
Claire
man.
never thought it was Paul.
Yep.
But then she finds the unedited versions where it actually is Paul. So Claire uploads all of these files to the web. She has them programmed to be emailed out into the world a couple hours later after she completes her final plan, which is to kill Paul
Mhm.
and save Lydia. So she goes to the Fuller house. This is where Paul is. She lights the house on fire. She leads Paul to come outside. He comes outside. He tries sweet talking Claire. He tells her he always loved her. Blah 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 blah.
Yep.
But she shoots him in the knee, which thank God. I thought that she was like falling for what he was saying at first. I was like gonna pass out.
I know.
Because he was saying a bunch. Like he's like, you don't know the truth. That I've
Right.
always loved you. And so she shoots him in the knee.
Yep.
She destroys his knee and his ankle, and then she runs to the garage because she knows that's where Lydia is. But at this point, like the whole house is engulfed in flames,
Yep.
including the garage. So it's like a very like make or break moment.
Right.
She sets Lydia free. Lydia gets like super injured in this process of getting out the house. She breaks her collarbone, really injures her arms because they try to like break through the walls of the
Mhm.
garage. They do end up making it out though, like not uninjured, not unscathed.
Yeah.
They're like seriously fucked up. They got
Yeah,
like,
they're hurt.
they're hurt.
They're hurting.
They're hurting, but they're chugging along. They try to get as much tapes out as they can.
Yes.
Then they come across Paul, who's like on his last leg, literally,
Literally.
begging for his life. He tells Claire, "I love you. I've always loved you. Please don't let me die."
Mhm.
Like, so Claire though doesn't cave. She holds Paul down as he dies. Lydia, digs her fingers into his busted up
His
kneecap,
wounds.
his wounds, and she's like, "Tell us where Julia is. You told me you knew where she is. Tell us where he is." And Claire is like, "I already know where she is, and I'm gonna watch you die." So she watches the life go out of Paul,
Yep.
and she's like, "I know where Julia is, you asshole," and he dies. So Julia is in a well. Claire and Lydia go and they find her remains. They find the locket.
Yep.
The mystery is answered.
Yep.
That's what happened. So fast forward a few months later, the sisters, Claire and Lydia, their mom, they're all reeling from this trauma that they endured. Claire got away with murder somehow. She called it self-defense. And
I was
it
happy for it.
Me too. I mean, like, in
I mean,
reality, it was.
yeah.
She deserved to get away with that.
She did.
So they're reeling from the trauma. They're going through Julia's old room. They're like recounting all their memories about her, the life that they shared before the Scots came in. They talk about their dad. All of the tapes and the truth about the secret porn ring was revealed to the world. They were all out there. News outlets picked it up. It seems like there will be a chance for the family to finally move on as best as they can. Agent Fred Nolan even asked Claire on a date. She doesn't know if she's going to go on it yet. So the last chapter we get is from Sam, the girl's father. The saddest chapter ever written on the planet Earth.
Sobbed.
Cried so hard.
Yeah.
And I cried several times through Sam's chapters. They were so
Yes,
good.
me too.
So he talks to Julia like directly in his final chapter. He tells her all about what he dreams about, like what could have been with his daughter. He describes her possible one-day wedding that would never happen. Matt says what he would picture it like, and he ends with saying that no matter what happened to Julia, she'll always be his pretty girl. Tears.
I was
It
sobbing.
was so fucking sad.
It really was so sad.
So, that was the book.
That was a really good summary of the book.
Thank you.
That was a lengthy book to summarize too. I think you hit all the important parts.
Thank you. There was so much more in that book. It was so dense, so detailed.
Yes.
I know it was long, but if you stuck through,
Yeah.
you needed to because it had to be said once again.
It did. It had to be said. So, along with other things that have to be said,
Yes.
let's dive into our discussion-based questions
Yes. DBQs.
Okay. because I think we're really going to get into these.
Yeah.
So, let's go ahead with number 1.
Mhm.
This is one that we actually posted on our social media accounts.
Yes. Follow us on Instagram.
Yes.
Also, if you read the books with us, you could chime in on the questions because we really
Yes.
want to hear what you guys have to say.
100%. And we want to share and
Mhm.
discuss what you're saying as well.
Yes.
So, do you think that Sam's letters to Julia were an effective storytelling device? Why? Did it bother you that the journal's letters never had any of their names associated with them?
Okay, I love, 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 like I said, Sam's point of view. The
Me
dad's point of
too.
view was so special to me because he, like I said, really captured the essence of being a parent.
Yes.
He loved his kids so much. And it really is so true that like when you become a parent, your love for your kids enthralls you in a way that like can only be felt.
Ugh.
And he talked about his babies, like when they're babies, and how hard it is for them to not be babies
Yeah.
anymore, but you're still so proud of your kids.
Yes.
And one thing that I felt so hard is if something happens to your child,
Mhm.
like what happened to Julia, like that's it for you.
I feel like, I
That's
mean, that's
it.
a nightmare.
A complete nightmare.
Yeah, like I mean, it truly, like, how does a parent,
You
you
can't.
can't move on
I
from
mean,
that.
I suppose people find ways.
Ugh.
I guess for me personally, like when I think about this,
Yeah.
I am like, and I talk about this with my mom sometimes too,
Mhm.
that you can't come back from something as terrible as losing a child. That's it. Your life is just
awful.
done, and you just
It's
live a life of nothingness, I suppose, because
it's really
that's it.
hard.
I know,
Um,
especially if you have
trauma
other
to live
children.
with.
Yeah, especially if you have other children the way that Sam did and Helen did,
Mhm.
because it's like he knew that he wasn't present for them anymore, and
Right.
it hurt him very bad, and it broke his heart. But he's like, I literally, I can't
Yeah.
do anything else.
Yeah.
So the author really captured that, which I
Yeah.
appreciated about Sam's point of view.
Definitely. And I think that was a huge part of the story.
I think so
It
too.
was his point of view, like you were saying, was so captivating
Mhm.
to me.
Mhm.
And it really did make me think of both my mom and my dad,
Yes.
kind of like what you were saying,
Mhm.
that there is no love stronger than that.
No.
His letters, that's what really invested me as a reader. It felt so real. Like it felt like real life.
Yeah.
Didn't bother me that names weren't mentioned. Like I don't even care about that.
I didn't even realize.
Yeah,
I
like-
think it was like obvious.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do have two answers from our fellow readers with us. We do
Yes.
have Brooke. She said that she felt like it added another layer to how sick Paul was by building the father to be so lovable.
I totally agree with that.
And
yes.
she said that it made it so much more realistic that someone was actually on to Paul. Because the
Oh
dad
my
was on to
God.
Paul.
Yes, because it was a little frustrating for Claire to have never caught on.
Right. And he's this loving,
And it's
doting
like-
husband.
He's doing all of this behind closed doors, and it makes you go, how could somebody really be that manipulative
Right.
for them to have this crazy murder, sex, porn happening?
And you don't have any idea?
No idea. Like, but it did show that Paul was capable. He was that much of a psychopath that
Right.
he was capable of doing that, and that Sam was on to him.
Yep.
I love that. Brooke is a fellow ELA teacher, so she catches
Yes.
on to some
Shout
things like
out.
that.
Speaking of a fellow ELA literary queen principal, we do have Angela responded as well
Okay.
to this question. She said that she was so bothered by the graphic details that she
Mhm.
forgot how much she enjoyed the overall approach to the varied narrators.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
But to answer the question, she really liked it as a narrator for sure.
Mhm.
The letters helped her see the sisters as the title described them.
Yeah.
She didn't
Pretty
even-
girls.
Yeah, pretty girls.
Oh my God. I love that connection.
Yep.
It did. His point of view did help me see the sisters as like just his precious
His
girls.
precious,
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah.
girls.
And that goes for lots of fathers. Like
Right.
that's just how they view their
Like,
children. It's
that's
precious.
his- yeah.
Yeah.
I
I love that.
She also didn't notice that the names weren't used,
Mhm.
so that didn't bother her.
No, I
but
think it was like obvious. It was like
yeah.
given.
like we
who
know
was-
who it is.
Exactly.
But she loved the varied perspective, and it keeps moving forward
Yeah.
as readers. Keeps us moving forward.
Beautiful.
So I agree with all that.
Perfect.
All right, moving on. Sam writes, when you first disappeared, your mother warned me that finding out exactly what happened to you would be worse than never knowing. Which do you think is worse, knowing or never knowing?
Ooh. This is like the question.
It is.
She said this a lot, red pill, blue pill, like
red pill, blue
what
pill.
is worse, knowing or not knowing? I don't think I have an answer.
Uh-huh.
Actually, I do have an answer.
Okay,
I
what
need
is
to
it?
know. I need to know the details. That's just who I am as a person.
Yeah.
I would have to know. It would probably be worse to know the truth, but I think not knowing would eat me up more.
Mm-hmm.
Another listener, Brittany, responded to this question.
Yeah.
She said, "What actually happened to Julia was no doubt worse than anything that the parents could have imagined over all those years in her family. Like, they probably thought she was murdered, possibly even raped, but couldn't imagine the real torture that she endured.
100%.
So, what's worse, being haunted by what you think happened or finding out it was far worse than what you thought happened?" I don't know.
Okay. I think I can see where both, in this case, right? Like, we're talking like the extremes that happen in this novel, where both would be so miserable and traumatizing, like
Yes.
knowing and not knowing.
Right.
But I do feel like in this case, for me, if I have to choose, I feel like not knowing what happened to Julie would have been better for them because what did happen to her was so awful and horrendous.
I agree.
Not only
Yeah.
did they know what happened, but the family watched it happen. And that's something that just, like, I don't know. A, should never happen to anyone, and B, no family should have to witness.
Wait, that adds a whole nother element too. I forgot that they watched it happen.
Yeah, because Helen watched too.
No, you see, that kind of changed my mind a little bit thinking about knowing versus not knowing because I have actually seen. I can't literally watch my kid like fall and scrape his knee. I'm broken apart inside.
Right.
I'm like, I can't handle it.
Yeah.
So to see that pain endured from your child now, yeah, I don't know. It's a really good moral question.
Yeah,
And I would love to know what other people think about that too.
for sure.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Okay, moving right along. One of the criticisms of this book was that after the big reveal, the antagonist's actions become cliche or just too over the top, unbelievable. Do you think that's true, or do you think that he was a fully realized independent character, and we're talking about Paul?
Okay, until you read this question, I didn't think that at all. I don't know. I didn't catch on to that, but now I can see where the criticism would come from because it's like the second half of the book, the actions that Paul did were so outrageous and unbelievable.
Right.
It was like, whoa, where does this come from?
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't really, I guess, surprised, and maybe I think it was because Lydia and Sam's point of view about Paul, how they saw through him, and I believed Lydia 100% when she said he tried to rape her and
Right.
stuff. I was like not surprised that he had this evil side to him.
Yeah.
Also because I do think that narcissists and psychopaths exist in the world, so
Absolutely.
I do think it's possible for people to have a whole other life and hide it from somebody. As scary as that is, it is possible, for sure.
I completely agree.
You see true crime videos about that all the
Yes.
time, that people have double lives and or husbands who are seemingly like great husbands, like rape and murder people behind their wives' backs.
Yep.
I mean, it's a thing.
It is a thing. It's absolutely a
So,
thing.
yeah,
I
I guess I don't think it was over the top unbelievable.
Okay, so I think I'm in agreement with you. Like, Paul was clearly the worst type of human. I mean, on their fictional planet, clearly he was horrible.
Right.
But I do feel like he was a full independent character for me. And like you were saying, I think after the big reveal, we see who he really is. And we
Yeah.
were getting the breadcrumbs all along. I mean, for Lydia
Right.
to want to piss on his grave,
Exactly.
he had to be horrible. And then we realized that.
100%.
I absolutely hate him.
Hate him. And something that Angela said as well
Yeah.
about Paul, she was like, I would be interested to get like a backstory for him. How was
Right.
someone like him made, created, born? Like, what was he like as a
Yeah.
kid? Like, that would be a cool, like, if the author did like I don't know.
Right, like one day Jared was like, "Come to work with me, my
Yeah,
boy."
let me show you how did that happen? Did he stumble upon what his father was doing? Did his father groom him into being this way? I would
like to take over the family business.
literally. And
So
I
disgusting.
mean, it obviously made millions of dollars. So how did Paul get into that?
Into it.
I would like to know that.
That would be a good.
Yeah, another point of view to
I
get.
would read that book too.
Me too, I would.
All right. Let's see. A criticism of this book that we received from a fellow reader and listener, Angela, was that the gruesome and brutal details of torture, rape, mutilation, and murdering of women was too heavy to read.
Mm-hmm.
In particular, The images of Paul waterboarding Lydia with his own urine, the image of Sheriff Huckleberry standing next to Julia's mutilated and naked body hanging upside down.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the gory details?
Yeah. Okay. So I was really happy when Angela brought this up because it really
Mhm.
wasn't something that I thought about.
No,
And
me
I was
either.
like, wow, we should talk about this because, okay, for me personally,
Yeah,
I could totally stomach and handle the gory details.
I'm the same way.
I mean, we read Womb for our first book,
I know.
and that was pretty gory and detailed as well.
Yeah.
I've always kind of been that way, but like, I think it's just a preference thing or like what you can and can't handle. I've always really enjoyed horror and
Yeah,
thrillers. I
Same.
like it, whether it's books, movies, films.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I enjoy psychological thrillers. I enjoy horror. This obviously was like next level, but I can totally handle it. I can totally stomach it.
Yeah.
It could go as deep and dark as possible. That's just like what keeps, I don't know, my interest. Yeah. Or like some of my favorite shows are more on like the horror side, like I said, the Haunting of Hill House. That wasn't like
Oh,
as
such a good show.
disturbing as this, but like it was just more scary. Like I like that kind of
Me
stuff.
too.
So the gory details of this book did not bother me at all. I was able to read it. Of course, it bothered me, but I
Right,
wasn't
like-
like I can't. I have to put this book down.
Right. Like, it definitely makes you cringe. It makes you.
Yeah.
Like, it's shocking.
Yes, and I can acknowledge that it's
But
so twisted and
I
dark
will
and
say this.
disturbing.
Because you had mentioned, like, true crime earlier.
Yeah.
And we watch that all the time. And we watch scary movies and
Yes.
read horror books and psychological thrillers. I feel like we are a little desensitized to it. Like,
Perfect word. Yes, and it is because of what we consume as
it
content.
is.
And I have
And
to
always have.
always have. So I was speaking of Black Mirror.
Mhm.
I had an episode on earlier today, and it was like something gory, like
Mhm.
dead person, blood, or something.
Yeah.
And my husband Matt was like, "What are you watching?" And I said Black Mirror, and he's like, "Oh my God, you need to just why don't you just watch something more light? God, you're always watching some dark stuff." And I was like, "Well, lay off, okay?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't affect me in a negative way.
Yeah.
I don't like go and get into a dark place because of it. I'm
Right.
just compartmentalize it. That's what I like to watch.
Yeah, like it just goes in the little part of the brain.
Yeah.
It stays there. I will say, though, this is not off topic, but I had one book where I
Yeah.
was like, I have to kind of like put it to the side because it was messing with me. And it was that
Mhm.
Intercepts book.
Yeah, I never read that, but I remember you told me that.
Intercepts kind of messed with me a little bit.
And that's completely fair. And like maybe sometimes we will get a book that'll be like, I have to put this
Yeah.
away. But for the most
It
part,
was a scary book, and I do like scary books. With that one, I was like, ooh,
yeah, it's a
kind of
lot.
carrying it with me.
Yes. So overall, completely understandable.
Yeah.
If like this is too much for you,
Right.
it's fair. It's like super dark, but no, like the details of the waterboarding with the urine, the
Yeah.
slashing with a machete, like no, I can handle that.
I know.
It's fine.
Like, I just kept reading.
agreed.
Agreed. Just kept
But,
moving.
but we see you. If you can't, we see you. We feel you.
And we hear you.
You can still listen.
Yes. And still give us your thoughts.
Yes.
Let's see. What did you think about the characterization of Claire, Lydia, and Paul? Did you feel connected to the characters, or was there more you wish you got from the author about them?
I felt connected to the characters.
What? Oh my gosh. More than any book in a long time.
Me too. Me too. I cared deeply about Claire and Lydia.
Yep.
Loved Lydia. She was so relatable. I
Lydia
remember
was cool as fuck.
she was. I remember I texted you in the beginning of reading. I was like, relatable Queen Lydia when she like was just downing a bag of chips.
Yeah,
her
like
kid.
shoving them in her mouth.
Yeah, because she like didn't want to deal with the annoying PTA moms,
Yep.
and she was like, "Oh my God!" Like I really cared about Claire and Lydia. Maybe would have liked to know more about Julia, but
Yeah.
I understood why we didn't. I mean,
Right.
she once you're at, I appreciated what Sam the dad had said about Julia that like. She just stayed forever at 19. There was only
Right,
so
there's
much you
only-
could know about a
exactly.
19-year-old. She didn't have these
Exactly.
life experiences or anything. So, yeah.
And it was being told from what her dad knew. So we're not going to
Exactly.
get like the details of her life because she can't
that was
tell
it.
them.
So, what did you think about the characterization in this book?
I enjoyed Lydia a lot.
Yeah.
I felt that all the characters felt real to me and raw, like actual people that we might know,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I felt like they were all developed. Readers got a ton of inner dialogue, descriptions
Yeah.
to make you feel like you understood the characters. And like I could see where Claire could maybe be overlooked. She was the baby sister, the easiest going kid that they have. I think Helen had said that.
So true. Yeah.
You know, she was living in the shadows of Julia. Not Julia. Lydia's drug usage and
Mhm.
Julia's disappearance. So it was almost like she was just beautiful.
She was a pretty girl.
She was a pretty girl because
Yeah.
the other two kids, like, they had heavy shit happening with the other two
Yes.
kids.
Yeah, and Lydia said about Claire that she was like, after this situation happened to their family, Claire just never really let herself live up to any type of potential. She just
Yep.
settled for mediocre always because she
Yes.
just didn't see the point, I guess. That's why she just, once Paul showed her interest and he treated
Yep.
her good, she was like, all right, fine. Like,
Yeah.
she just went with whatever. She just took it.
See, and I think just how you said it, like, that's a huge character trait of her.
Mhm.
Never living up to, like, what she could be. Because
Right.
what was the point? So I think her characterization wasn't so direct. It came from reading in
Yeah.
between the lines.
So true.
So I think being overlooked and being like, what is the point of me,
Yeah.
shooting for the stars? You're right. That pushed her into the arms of Paul,
Yeah.
which she felt like she was his whole world because
Yeah.
she wasn't
He took
in her
care of her
parents'
and she
eyes.
went with it.
So,
And he was master manipulator.
and I do think throughout the entire novel, she was grappling with the fact and accepting, like, who he really was versus still
Yeah.
loving him. Because I think
She was.
I think she still loved him.
I think she did too. And I did think there at the end, when he was telling her he loved her and begging for her life, I thought she might fold.
I did
And I
too.
would have been pissed.
Oh,
100%. Like at that time, everything that you saw him do, he needs to be shot directly in the eyeballs.
right.
But there's something to be said when you love somebody and
Yeah.
who you thought they were.
She was loving the idea of him.
Yeah, agreed. And so, do you think Paul loved her? I saw a lot of people want to know that.
In this weird
Mhm.
way, I do think he loved her.
Me
or
too.
loved having her to himself.
That's
control.
probably it. That's
I
probably
don't think
it.
it was like real love, like
No,
how
he clearly
we
is
love
not
our
capable.
husbands. Right.
Right.
I think it was I love having this control and I love having this possession. So I do think it was a layer of love. And
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. Because I don't think he would. I don't think he would have harmed Claire,
No,
which is crazy for someone who literally rapes and murders people for a
her
living.
own sisters.
Her own sisters, but I don't think he would have hurt her. And I think
No.
it was because he developed that possession over her and it was like serious to him.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Did you find the ending satisfying and did the story seem complete to you?
And yeah, satisfying as it could be.
Yeah.
Yes. I would have been so hurt if Lydia like didn't make it. If Claire, I mean, if
know I
Paul would
couldn't have handled that.
No, I was like, please God. So Lydia made it. She was able to get back with her family. They were able to finally like have peace with Julia, put her to rest.
Yes. And
So as satisfying as it could be.
right, and it felt like they finally had that family moment.
Mm-hmm.
I did feel like the legal stuff where it said Paul started the fire, Claire shot him out of self-defense.
Yeah.
I felt like that like was breezed through, but I kind of appreciated that.
Yeah,
I wasn't mad about it.
agreed. It was totally brief. There was like 2 sentences on
Yeah.
like how the whole thing was handled. They were like, the tapes are out there.
Yep, everybody knows.
I would also maybe like another extended chapter of like the repercussions of that. Like I would love to see people's reactions to get an email
Right.
that Claire sent of
That was pretty badass.
that was pretty
Her
cool.
sending the email.
It was for everybody to see.
Yeah.
Yes, that was rushed through. I appreciated it, like you said, because the book was so dense. I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I was ready to part ways at this point. Like I was like, okay,
Mhm.
wrap it up. It was dense.
Yeah.
The author was so detailed. She was so detailed with everything. Like even the way the computers were set up. Like it was just
Yeah.
everything had a purpose and a detail. So
It-
I was okay with the end kind of being like,
Yeah.
all right, this is what happened. We're fine. We're done.
and I know we talked about this already, but the dad's final letter at the
Yes.
end, the wedding, the no matter what happened to you, no matter what horrors you endured, while
Mhm.
you were taken away, you'll always be my pretty little girl.
Yeah. Killed me.
I
Shoot
had
me
it
now.
as I'd like to buy a gun. I was
Not okay.
crying. I was seriously like in tears.
Yeah. I
was
almost got into
so
in the very
good.
beginning of the book, one line that the dad said that really stuck with me. He said, your mother always told me if I knew what happened and it would tear me apart. And he was like, she was right. The details did tear me up.
Yes.
And I was like, fuck.
Damn it.
Justice for Sam.
Sam.
Justice for daddy.
No lie. He was a good man.
He's a good man, Savannah. He's a good
He's a
man.
good man.
So good.
Okay, and finally, should Claire go on this motherfucking date with Nolan?
What do you think? You tell me first.
On 3. 1, 2, 3.
No.
Thank God.
Thank God, bitch. No, bitch. She just got out of a relationship where her husband was literally a rapist, murderous, psychopathic, Looney Tune
all
nutball.
of the horrible things in one. I was like thinking, no, run.
Run.
Have no involvement with any of these people anymore. Start
No.
over.
Oh my God, yeah. And Fred was like an douche-rooney.
He
He
was.
was not a nice guy.
Ew, he gave off such
Such icky vibes.
like fuckboy vibes.
He did. Like, you don't have to be like cool guy. Like, I'm the FBI.
I'm the FBI. Here's my badge. Here's my badge.
No, he was.
You knew
such
what
a
you were
dick.
doing.
Yeah. No, she should not go with Fred Nolan. She should. If she,
God, no.
first of all, if I was Claire, I would not want to see any man for
no.
so long.
Like, work on your family.
Yes.
Spend time with mom.
Go to therapy, Claire.
Go to. It's okay to go to therapy.
Yeah.
Like, normalize it. Like, she does need to go
Yes.
some intense.
Seriously.
Didn't she have mandated therapy sessions?
They mentioned that at the end of the book.
Okay, because
I
I thought
don't-
I might have been getting that confused with another book.
I don't know if she went, but she was like giving it the idea. She was like, yeah, maybe I should go to therapy. It's like, no,
She
Claire,
should.
you should.
Baby, you
definitely
should.
should.
And you all should. Any hoozy. All right, so that was our discussion-based questions, our DBQs.
I knew that was going to be a long one, but so much had to be
it
discussed.
had to be said, and I'm sure there's still so
Yeah.
much.
Oh, for sure. We could talk forever about this.
we
but
really could.
takeaways, we really talked about a lot that like I
We
took
did.
away.
I'm trying to see like.
I took away though.
I do have.
Okay, what though?
This is so stupid, y'all. There was a point. So when you read a book,
Mhm.
it's your own voice in your head, right?
I think
Or
so.
do you like give it voices sometimes? Like when you read a male perspective, it's your voice still, or
I don't know.
Like,
This
a
just
man
made me
voice?
like side note think about when we were both reading what was that book? Flicker in the Dark, and we were listening to the audiobook.
And there was a lady.
It was a lady doing the male perspective, and she
Yes.
was like, "Brr."
I walked into the house. I threw my bag on the white couch.
She was like,
Couldn't take it serious.
come here, little girl.
Take off your shirt.
I couldn't handle it.
No.
But wait, as much as I loved the dad's
Perspective?
point of view, yeah. There was a time where I was reading it in Winnie the Pooh's voice.
No, why?
No,
Weird.
it was so weird. It literally.
You caught yourself and you're like,
yes,
that's
I was like,
not
wait,
how he talks.
that's literally Winnie the Pooh's voice.
Oh my God. Now I really am thinking, like, what do I hear when I read? I don't know. Reading is so weird.
It is weird. I usually have my own, like, it's
I
just
think
my
so, too.
inner
I think so
voice.
too. Sometimes, even earlier today, I caught myself whispering the words, like,
Out loud.
yeah, and I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, I don't know. It was like I don't know, it was weird.
Yeah. I found
You do
myself
that
doing
sometimes, too?
Yeah. No, the
Yeah.
Winnie the Pooh thing just kind of like popped in my head. I was like, bitch, what the? We got to reread that now.
Not Winnie.
No.
Is Winnie the Pooh British?
Yeah, he's got like.
Oh, yeah.
It's not right. He's got like that little
He's
like,
like,
raspy.
Come on, Piglet.
He's got a little raspy.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, bother. I don't think that was right
Oh,
either.
Christopher.
I think because Winnie the Pooh makes me sad too. Like
No,
in an emotional
no.
way. I have an emotional
Do
connection
you know
to Winnie the
what?
Pooh.
Now that you say that, Sam does give Winnie the Pooh vibes.
God, he does. Like
We
I just
need
want to hug him.
Yes. We need to find like a picture of who we think Sam is and put him next to.
Well, mine's Winnie the Pooh.
That's it. Oh my God. I love Sam.
Okay. Oh, you know what? I annotated this book.
Oh,
I
we know.
read this
Talk
book.
about that.
Hard copy. I annotated it,
Yes.
and I had.
Tell us your process.
So I started. I bought a bunch of book tabs from
Okay.
Amazon,
Yeah.
and they were color
Are
coded.
they sticky notey? Like they have the little stickies on them and they stick to the book?
I have like these. They're just like the little rectangles
Mm-hmm.
that you can tab. And last episode when I talked about character setting, I started
Yes.
off there. So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna have a tab per category on the rubric."
So teacher of you.
So teacher. And then I quickly realized, baby,
Yeah.
you're gonna be here all day. So I have
All
like
day.
so many tabs. But you can see like midway through, I kind of stopped because overall I did find that it slowed me down.
Okay, that's completely fair.
I did feel like I absorbed the book, like I was like really diving into the book. But
You was breaking that bitch down like.
I was like on the plane, but I did have like highlights.
Okay, so I was gonna say maybe like from going forward with me, because I found myself, because I read half the book hard copy, half the book Kindle.
Ooh, that's
Yes,
interesting.
and I did find myself wanting to highlight things on my hard copy.
Mm-hmm.
Lydia said this really good paragraph about pretty girls and like their role
Mm-hmm.
in society, and I wanted to highlight that. So, do you remember that one?
Yeah, I probably have it tabbed. I'm not gonna lie.
Probably. It was
was good.
good.
Yeah. So overall, it was fun. Like I'm looking,
Mm-hmm.
like page 287. I highlighted 2 more years and she'll be Julia's age, and that's Paul talking about D. I highlighted that. And I put no.
No.
So that was fun.
Yeah, that is fun.
But overall, I just found that it just slowed me down a little bit.
Completely fair.
But it was fun.
Yeah.
So
Maybe next time we'll just tone it down a little.
Yeah.
Just,
like I probably will
couple
just
highlights,
highlight,
couple
not
little-
use the tabs
couple
as
little
much.
exclamation marks here and there.
Yeah.
Question
It
marks.
was fun though.
Yeah. That is fun.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Next books.
Yes.
Are we there?
I think we are.
Time just flew by. I'm not
really
gonna
did.
lie. Okay, so we're gonna talk about our next 2 books.
Yeah. Do it.
Our next book is Tender as the Flesh, and that's by Agustina Bezcherecka.
Mm-hmm.
This novel was originally published in Spanish. We kind of briefly touched on this on our last episode. Marcos works at the local processing plant, and he is in the business of slaughtering humans, though no one calls them humans anymore. Marcos' personal life seems to be falling apart, and as we read, we will see why that is.
Okay.
I did hear this is a really, really good dystopian society.
I love that.
Read.
It's super short too. We have I have the hard copy, and it doesn't seem like that long.
No, it is a shorter
Yes.
book. And then I do know some of us like to get the next 2 books for the month.
Read ahead. Mhm.
Right.
Or start early.
So our next book is going to be Bunker Dogs by Gage Greenwood.
Mhm.
And this sounds very interesting. So I did pull this excerpt from Amazon as well.
Let's hear it.
Don't just fear what you're hiding from. Fear who you're hiding with. Cassie's night of babysitting goes to hell when bombs explode in the distance. Planes fly overhead at low altitudes, and alerts on her phone tell her to seek shelter. Luckily, the boy she babysits tells her that her father has a bunker in the yard. When they make their way to this underground shelter, they soon discover they aren't alone. Something is living in the bunker, lurking in the walls, and it's hungry.
Mm.
What started as a simple night of babysitting will descend into a psychological and claustrophobic nightmare Cassie couldn't have prepared for.
Okay, Cassie.
So
That sounds really
this
interesting.
sounds really good. The book is on pre-order right now, and if you pre-order it and you're going to read it on Kindle, it'll just automatically deliver to your Kindle on July 1st if you're a Kindle person. So we
Love it.
definitely want to shout out
Mr. Gage.
Mr. Gage.
Greenwood. Yeah.
Yes. So it sounds like he's in the horror realm too, kind of
Yes.
like our man Duncan.
Oh, love Duncan.
Yeah. And something else I thought was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a best-selling author, actor, comedian, podcaster as well.
Gage, we gotta
And
check him out.
I know. And he's the vice president of an escape room company.
No way.
So I'm
Wow.
excited to see how he kind of like weaves all of those.
Yeah, into his writing.
Yes.
Yes. That brings me to something I wanted to mention too about Duncan.
Yeah.
Is I saw him post. So Duncan Ralston was the author of the first book that we read
Our
and broke down.
First baby
Womb. And
episode.
Womb will always hold a special place in my
Me
heart.
too.
So I followed Duncan on TikTok and Facebook, and he posted something really interesting about indie horror authors, horror thriller authors.
Yeah.
So I guess he considers him and Gage also as like an indie author.
I'm here
And
for that.
I love that. And he said that there's like something weird and scandalous going on in the indie author world
What?
where they're kind of being like silenced. They're
Not
being
here.
silenced a little bit, and we're not going to stand for that.
We will not stand for that.
Absolutely not. There's something weird going on with like Amazon trying to cut out certain like subgenres for
What?
that people can search in. So y'all go follow Duncan. He posted a petition to sign.
We all
post
need to
it.
sign it.
I will post it on our Instagram
Yeah, post it.
to like keep indie authors, horror thrillers alive. People can find them easily. so they don't get silenced. Interesting,
Seems very
right?
illegal.
Seems it does. So we will not stand for this.
Seems like an episode of Black Mirror, if you ask me.
100%. They don't want to be heard from. So we are excited to read Gage's book.
Yes.
I pre-ordered it. And I also read a little bit of the first few chapters.
Yes.
And it seems really good, really interesting.
It's gonna be such a good one.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
Also, before we go, I want to
Yeah.
mention that for Tender is the Flesh, we
Mhm.
have another copy of it, and we're going to do a little giveaway
Yes.
to our followers. So
Yes.
follow us on the Instagram and the TikTok to see the giveaway details.
Yes.
We're going to give away the book and a little gift card.
A little gift card.
A little something for y'all.
I know we're really excited to do this.
Yes. So the TikTok is the Open Books Podcast.
Yep.
And then Instagram is just Open Books
Open Books.
Podcast.
Yep.
Open Books Podcast without the the.
Get rid of the.
The. So, do you think that was it, Amber?
I-
do you think we said it all?
I think
we
I
said
think
it all.
we said it all. I think we've all said it all.
I think we've said everything that had to be said. I'm probably gonna think of
Yes.
a million other things I want to say. I'm obsessed with this podcast. It's so much fun.
Y'all, this has given us like
So much life.
new life.
It's so much fun. All day I think about like, oh, I need to save that for the podcast. I need to save
I
this on the
know.
podcast. It's so much fun.
Yeah, y'all don't understand. There's so many times where we're like texting each other and we're like, I can't tell you yet.
Yeah. Save
We'll
it for
save
the pod.
it for the pod.
And so y'all have to go follow us so you can interact because we
Yes.
want to mention your thoughts and your comments on the
Yes.
podcast. What do you think about these books? Even if it's not about the books, if you want to talk about the shows that
Yes.
we're watching or anything else that you feel like needs to be said, we will say it.
Absolutely. We'll say it, honey.
We'll say
We'll say it. But also, if you have a question, like a discussion-based question, and you want to ask it,
Oh,
send it
yeah.
our way.
Send it. We'll answer.
We will.
And we'll put it on the socials and see what other people think about
Yeah.
these books. This
I
has been
love it.
so much fun.
It is. It's
Loved
always
episode
so fun.
3. Love you, Karin Slaughter.
Karen,
You really did chef's kiss job with this book. I
Chef's
love this
kiss.
book. Definitely top 5
be a
books.
guest on our
Yeah.
episodes.
Call us. Call us. Have you people call our people?
That's too great.
Love y'all.
All right.
Can't wait for the next episode.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.